I think we are live
Whoa, good.
from all
Y-
over the world.
From all over the world. Yes.
Hi, I'm Tricia Broderick.
Hi, I'm Diana Larsen.
I'm coming from Denver, Colorado, which is normal. I'm at home today, but you
Yes.
are
I am not at home. I am in Copenhagen, Denmark.
nice.
Yeah.
I've never been there. It's on my
Funny that
list.
the background looks exactly the same, but I am in a different place. It's a lovely place. I enjoy coming to Denmark very much.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
never been. It's on my list.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's November, and I don't know about you, but I'm ready. I'm like sometimes you're always like, time, where's time going? I'm like, nope, this year can just keep going. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yes.
This year can
Yes.
just keep on going. But we
Yes.
are in November. And so we are going to keep coming live once a month, not on a specific date because of our schedules and travel and things like this. But we're going to keep coming together, partially because we just miss each other, and then partially
Yeah.
because we always want to keep digging into these topics
Yes. Yes.
from the book that we wrote together called Lead Without Blame.
It's exciting.
And um, and I actually brought the stickers you had made the other day,
Oh,
and I
yeah?
had people fighting over the stickers. It was kind of cool.
That's great. I'm happy to
Uh,
hear that. That's wonderful.
so today's topic for
Mhm.
our little chat, our 10-15 minute chat, unscripted, is kind of techniques or considerations when we're voicing our opinions. I
Mhm.
think given the election, given all these things going on right now, being
Yes.
heard is
Yes.
super important and super necessary, especially in the workplace. But it's not always easy to voice our opinions, to voice our thoughts, and to be heard with it. So
Right.
figured we'll dig into this a little bit in terms of what our techniques or considerations that we both experience when we're trying to voice our opinions.
Right.
Not election specific, so don't panic,
No.
anyone. We're not going to go there, although
No.
we would.
We might,
Uh,
but no. Yeah.
so I thought maybe we'd start kind of a little bit on that the what, in order to understand why we even need techniques and
Right. Right.
considerations, is a little bit of the fear. So do you have any fear when you're voicing opinions and stuff? Like, does anything kind of come up for you at this point, or?
I don't have fears anymore, I don't think. Um, I can imagine a situation where I might be fearful depending on who else was around me, but mostly I am cautious
Mm,
about speaking up in certain around certain topics. I've kind of always been known as the person who will, in a business meeting or whatever, will often say the thing that everybody else is thinking, but nobody else will say. so I'm pretty good at speaking up and finding my voice in most situations, but there are times when caution seems the better part of valor or whatever, and I'm not always willing to say exactly what I'm thinking. um and some of that, I think, has to do with experiences I've had with how maybe someone else who is present has received what I've said or how they've reacted to what I've said. And other times it's just because I don't know. I don't, I'm with a group of people that I don't really know. And I tend to be more cautious. And once I get to know people, I'll pretty much say anything. But when I don't know people, I want to kind of know where they're coming from before I jump in.
yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely have sometimes Jake Calabrese will joke that I have no filter. Like, if it comes
Right.
here, it goes here, like
Yeah.
instantly,
Yeah.
which is honestly pretty accurate and pretty
Yeah.
true. And yet it's not when it's the elephant or the courageous part of voicing opinions. It's the idea or thought or content base where I'm all like, is this stupid? Like, that
Yeah.
imposter syndrome of, do I really know what I'm talking about, will actually come up. So
Uh,
I'm actually more okay voicing opinions when I'm dealing with a conflict or saying the elephant in the room or those things. It's when we're coming up with ideas or strategies or stuff, or responsibilities that I should have or knowledge that I should have, that I'm always worried is like, is this stupid? Am I way off base? And that imposter syndrome will start coming up in me, that I have still some fear associated to it.
Right. Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like, that should have been the easier part to address than the elephant part. But no, I have more of the fear of like, are people going to think like, what is she doing? It still comes up when my voice.
Right.
Voice opinions.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I'm trying to think, like, I have to think that in some situations, I really have to feel like there's really a lot on the line. And then sometimes I will step up and say something I wouldn't have otherwise said. But if it seems like there's, that it's a really critical moment, or if we don't talk about this, it's really going to get us in trouble, or, whatever, that I've been able, I think, over time, like, I talk to people a lot who are saying, oh, I really want to give somebody feedback, for instance, and I just can't find the right time, and I don't feel like I really should say anything, but I don't know if I should say anything. And then, those kinds of situations, I will share like different techniques that I use for that. Like if I want to give somebody feedback and I respect them and I care about what's going on between us, I will preface what I say with something that I think positions it better. I mean, and maybe this is a little not US politics, but like business politics, right? Where I will be sincere, but I will say something like, I want you and I to have the best possible working relationship. And I think there's something getting in the way of that. And so can I give you some feedback, or can we talk about this issue that's causing us problems? But I give that, I really want us to have the best possible working relationship.
You create some alignment there.
I
Like,
create some alignment, and I'm not here to attack you. I'm not here to, and I'm feeling kind of, it sort of communicates, I'm feeling as nervous about this as I might be causing you to feel, but yeah, I think maybe that's it. Maybe it's we're on the same side here, but there's something over here that's getting in our way.
Yeah.
And so I have different, I mean, that's one instance, but I have different things like that I've learned that help me speak up in times when it can be hard, it's stressful to speak up.
One of the techniques I use in those moments when voicing my opinion is tough, is what if I don't, what am I saying? And so I actually think about it. What does my silence say?
Right.
What message is my silence saying if I don't voice my opinion? And so as much as I might be worried that it's stupid, or I might be worried that I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings or things like that, I do take the moment to process, like, what does my silence say? Especially as a leader, in an organization. And that can help me kind of gauge sometimes is that voicing of that opinion necessary or not, and what that looks like.
Right. And that reminds me of something that I have heard Esther quote Jerry Weinberg a lot saying.
Esther Jerry quoting Jerry Weinberg.
Yeah. Is that if you never say no, so that's another way to speak up, is to say, no, this is not a thing I can take on. No, this is not a thing I can do. And the point being, if you can't say no, your yeses don't mean anything.
Oh,
if you're always saying yes, always accommodating, always, oh, sure, yeah, I'll take that on too, and you never say no, those yeses don't mean anything, because you probably will not be able to follow through on all the things you're saying that you can do, or people start making assumptions about that. And so I mean, I think one of the hardest things about speaking up, about finding your voice, is when you need to say, no, I'm not going to be able to do that, or no, I won't take that on as well. And so having that awareness that if you want your yeses to mean anything, you have to be willing to step up and say no sometimes.
I was just at a conference and they highlighted that the Olsen twins, the celebrity Olsen twins, said no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
And I think the combination between those two things, that maybe it's a timing that I'm hearing both of those messages right in this within a week span with those things. Because there is a dynamic of picking your timing. And you'll hear a lot of people say things like, which battle are you going to choose to fight, or choose your timing, but there is some element of truth to that in terms of, is my opinion, and it is a question, it's a technique that I ask myself, is this opinion helping us move forward? Or is it just something I feel like I want to say? Right. And because I got opinions for days, people, I got opinions all days long, but is it really helping us move forward? Or is it something that I just am feeling the need to say? Why? Like, who's that really serving? Is it serving what the goal is, and what that, as Dylan is commenting and thing, that alignment and the intent, right? Or is it serving just me, right? And I've watched some people that they'll be like, well, I don't feel seen. And so then they start over compensating. They're just voicing every opinion, but it's actually distracting from the conversation, right? It's actually almost feeling like a little like, let's this, and all of a sudden you're everywhere, and it's hard to follow the thought. So one of the techniques I always ask myself is this serving the discussion? Is this helping us moving forward? Or is this something that's maybe important, but just not for right now? Like, what is that timing?
Well, and I think for those of us who it's easier to speak up, maybe, or we just are more willing, or I don't know what that is.
Maybe both.
I had a friend who used to call me the idea hamster. It's like I'm just on the idea wheel and I just keep spinning them out. And the deal is, I'm not that attached to any of them when they're coming out that way. And sometimes people think I am attached to all those ideas, and so I have to explain and so on. But because it is easier for me to speak up, I think what you just brought up, where I have to be cautious, is my idea needed right now? And I've experienced this, if I don't say anything, will this come from someone else who needs to be able to be seen, who needs that visibility, who needs that validation that, yes, your ideas are good,
or just an opportunity, period.
They don't all have to come from me. And not every conversation needs my commentary. And certainly social media has just underscored that for me, for sure. I am much less likely to speak up on social media than probably any other communication channel in my life. Because I just feel like there's so many people throwing out so many opinions.
And often not in context, often not connected, right? In just ways that are not moving that conversation forward.
Right.
Just to be seen and heard. One of the things that I still am working on while voicing my opinion. I was trying to think, when we were talking about this topic, I was like, what's something that I'm currently like actively working on when I'm doing this topic? And I will say these lives have actually helped me tremendously in this category, because they're always unscripted. I got to fly with it. Whatever, podcasts do that as well, right? Podcasts and these lives make it. But getting rid of disclaimer words like, well, this is just a thought, like, and especially I know that that's a very stereotypical of gendered female dynamic as well in the workplace, but I've seen it in a number of different ways where we'll add these disclaimers to our opinions, which actually does the opposite of what you're trying. If you're trying to deliver value, if you're trying to be seen, if you're trying to increase the co-intelligence in the room, throwing these, well, it's just, or we don't have, this is probably stupid, but
Yeah.
right?
Right.
These diminisher disclaimers that
Yes.
we often open with, and I don't even know how I was taught to do that. I don't think
Yeah.
so. I don't know if I just picked it up. I don't,
Yeah.
but that is still one that I actively try to diminish, reduce, improve
Yeah.
on.
Right.
And it's not always easy though. And
Right. 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 Absolutely. I think that's a huge thing because it undercuts whatever it is you're getting ready to say. It sucks the power out of it. And it kind of tees people up to disregard it, right?
and yourself.
You're already telling them
And
to
yourself, you
disregard.
are
Yeah,
doing it too. You're
yeah,
like, oh, I told you it was just the right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there is something about owning our opinions, owning our ideas. And then, of course, the next piece of that is the supporting each other in our ideas. I think Tricia just said that 3 minutes ago when you just decided to recycle her idea, in this meeting or whatever. Being willing to speak up for each other is another time when we don't always use our voices in the most effective way. And really speaking up for each other is a very effective way of using our voice.
yeah.
Giving that support to, if we think, I mean, you don't want to necessarily support what you think is a bad idea, but you can say, there's a seed of something there. Let's build
Yes,
on that.
and
Or yeah, or you can for people who are when you're in a meeting and somebody's kind of tentative about that, you can find some ways of sort of saying, no, not sort of saying, of saying, nice illustration, Diana. Um, of saying, Tricia just said something important. I don't know that I would support all of it, but let's take that and let's run with, let's see if we can build on that, or, whatever that might be, to sort of say there's goodness there, right? And we need to pay attention to that and not just let it get swept away.
one of my favorite techniques of doing this is also acknowledging that in a way of supporting to help voices be heard
Right.
is realizing not everybody wants to be on a live. Not everybody wants to do a huge group and talk in front of a huge group. So a lot of times we'll do like small group kind of discussions.
Right.
But one of my favorite things to actually as a facilitator sometimes to say is who, does anybody hear something from somebody else that they want to share with the larger group? Right. And so you're actually almost giving permission so that it's here, you've got somebody so that there isn't just this like, well, this is my idea versus your idea, but you're
Right.
actually encouraging somebody to support somebody else's. Like that triggered an idea for me and setting it off right off from the bat, right coming out of the small group. That also allows somebody who is more extroverted,
Yeah.
to be the one that talks, even though it's somebody else's idea and they're comfortable with that.
Right.
And actually, I appreciate that even more as an extrovert because I like giving flowers to people and highlighting those things. I just also like talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's a wonderful technique. Yeah.
We're at time already.
Oh my gosh.
My gosh, these go by so fast, so
Yeah.
fast. Where so you're in Copenhagen right now. What do you have coming up that people could still see you or find you?
I'm going to be at Scrum Day Europe on December 3rd, which is I'm really excited about, in Utrecht, Netherlands. And I said on LinkedIn on LinkedIn the other day that I was going to be in Amsterdam. It's not. No, I'm going to be in Utrecht. And then I'm pretty much just skating through the end of the year. I may show up a couple places just ad hoc, but and then the next thing I have is in early February, I will be at the OOP conference in Munich. So I'm looking forward to that too. I love Munich, and so I'll be happy to go back there. But yeah, Utrecht and then Munich, but I'll be home in the middle.
In the middle.
In the
Perfect.
middle, I'll be home for several weeks. Yeah.
I do not have many public things left, but I do have two options for people. This week, this Friday, I am doing an experiment with a brand new micro credential with IC Agile for coaching. And so there are 2 spots left on Friday's 2-hour workshop, and I'm doing a super discounted price for it just because it's a brand new offering. I want to experiment with it and things along those lines. So there are 2 spots remaining in Friday's micro credential workshop on coaching skills for leaders. So if you're a leader that's struggling with empowering, struggling with not being the hub, the dependency, the one that answers all the questions, and in some ways helping others voice their opinions, this is a good workshop. It's a 2-hour on Friday, so check that out. You can find that on my website at igniteii.com. And then my other offering that's public that is already starting to have some registrations, so it will definitely be happening, is in January, is called Impactful Training and Speaking. So again, for leaders that are tired of repeating themselves, wanting to do more motivation when they're speaking and when they're delivering their messages and their communications and their initiatives, this is a 2-day virtual course that's going to be offered in January. Those are the only 2 that I have coming up real near term. There will be another Leading Amazing Teams coming. Jake and I haven't set a date for that.
Right.
And
yeah, I've got one other thing I didn't think. I am going to do, for those of you who are out there who are fans of the Agile Fluency model and have heard about the Agile Fluency game, which it's easy to find out about online, it's a very powerful simulation to help people understand how to build good software in teams. And we haven't, because it's an in-person game, we sort of didn't play it a lot during the pandemic, but we're picking that back up again. And I'm doing a facilitator training for the Agile Fluency game in April. And we don't have all the details nailed down, but if you go to my website, dianalarson.com/subscribe, there's an opportunity there that you could sign up for my newsletter where all the details will be announced, or you can check a box that says you want to learn about workshops, and then we will be sure to make sure that you get in your inbox any of the information that comes out about the Agile Fluency Game Facilitators Workshop. And it's a great tool for I love doing it with leadership groups, but it's also a great tool to play with delivery teams and all kinds of things like that, because it really gets people thinking about what is it we're doing here, and are we using the most effective practices we could. So it's it's the first one that's coming up since the pandemic, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Nice. Lovely. Well, let's give a round of applause for your hotel Wi-Fi holding up.
Yes.
and then we will be back on December 20th with our next month's topic. See everybody then.
Bye.